Obama's three crises, the good and bad news vertical bracket Fox News, Fox News Digital Network, Fox News, Fox Business, You Report, Fox News Radio, Fox News Latino, Fox Nation, Fox News Insider, Login, Account, You're logged in as, Profile, Logout, Search site, Listen to Fox News Radio Live, In Air Now, In Air Personalities, Home, Video, Politics, U.S., Opinion, Entertainment, Tech, Science, Health, Travel, Lifestyle, World, Sports, In Air. Previous slide. Next slide. Opinion. Home, Michael Goodwin, Karl Rove, Sally Gone, Juan Williams, Peter Morrissey, Andrew Napolitano, Liz Peek, Peter Johnson Jr. Obama's Three Crises, The Good and Bad News, by Lanny Davis. Published May 21, 2013. FoxNews.com. Will Washington overcome its latest credibility crisis? Did White House counsel know about IRS abuses weeks ago? The good news for the White House is that despite the Benghazi, IRS, and AP subpoena perfect storm of crises within a week, President Obama's job approval ratings are up. The bad news is that because of the violation of the fundamental crisis management rule about getting the truth out and telling early, telling all, tell it yourself and the White House inflicted avoidable damage on itself that might give the Republicans an opportunity to do political damage in the future. For example, in Benghazi, the talking points used by Ambassador Rice, once all 12 versions were finally published, proved that it was the CIA, not the White House, that originated the phrase to describe the assault on the Post that resulted in the deaths of 4 Americans and that is, that the attacks in the Post were spontaneously inspired by the protests at the U.S. Embassy in Cairo. Whether you are a Democrat or Republican, liberal or conservative, we are all Americans who want to know the truth as quickly as possible. Us Republican members of Congress who claimed these words were made up by the White House to advance President Obama's political message in his presidential campaign were 100% wrong and owe Ambassador Rice an apology for their false accusation that ended up killing her chances to be Secretary of State. But the crisis management failure is, why didn't the White House communications team publish these talking points 5 months ago? If they had, it is reasonable to surmise that Ambassador Rice would not be Secretary of State Rice. Second, it is now undisputed that the White House counsel knew for at least 2 weeks before the story broke that some IRS employees had engaged in targeting of conservative nonprofits groups for extra audits and investigations. Some argue that it was not necessary to tell the president, because the IRS's Inspector General report hadn't yet been finalized. My question is, from a crisis management perspective, why not give the president a heads up, so that there could be planning, including preparing a message of outrage by the president that he could personally deliver the minute the story broke? Instead, it took 2 days for the president to do that and not a long time, but still, I cannot understand why giving the president a heads up wasn't an obligation of the White House counsel, who must wear 3 hats and legal, political, and media and in that position. Third, the White House made the right call in not commenting specifically on the criminal investigation that led to the subpoena of telephone records of Associated Press reporters. But it violated the crisis management rule of avoiding no comment in an issue of public importance. There was a third choice between commenting on an ongoing Justice Department investigation, which would have been improper, and no commenting. And that is the familiar crisis management message technique of using the but pivot. For example, the president could have said, "I'm not going to comment on the specific investigation," that would be wrong. But the pivot I can say generally I am concerned about the possible adverse impact in investigative journalism and the First Amendment of any broad subpoena of reporters' telephone records. Whether you are a Democrat or Republican, liberal or